One of the best reasons to become a licensed London taxi driver is the freedom and security, but also the springboard it can give you, which allows you to try other jobs and be more speculative with other business ventures. You always have the cab to fall back on and to help finance anything you wish to take a shot at. This is just one of the things covered in today's podcast. Tom and Paul talk about all things electric, the state of the trade, and speculate on the increased rental prices for taxis, becoming a tour guide, as well as an abundance of other issues. I hope you enjoy it, and we will hopefully be back on our regular Wednesday at noon schedule soon.
Why?
Because it's just like water with like,
It's just got a bit of fun attached to it. Yeah. No.
Just like they're just drinking a can of Diet Coke. And you're like, what's that?
And having a burger.
Yeah, what's that going to do?
A big fat burger and a can of Diet Coke, please, mate.
Yeah. Let's get back on track. That
Right.
we said, and we had a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
That's why I've no longer got a hoodie on because it's pretty warm.
Yeah.
We were saying about the dynamics of being a fleet owner, right? Because I own my own cab, my own TXC. I'm still paying it off.
Yeah.
But the thing that scares me about it, and the thing that's not as fun about it, is that years ago people would go freehold. They would pay off the cab. It's a bit like paying off your mortgage, and then bosh, that's where the earning potential is. Surely, as a fleet owner, that must have some serious ramifications on you, right? Because
It's the same for everyone, though. Like, your headache is my headache.
yeah,
Same headache. Like, we know that they're going to come out of warranty after 5 years. Some people are already out of warranty. They didn't take the extension. There's a few people I know of. I've heard of a cab that's done over 200,000 miles.
wow,
It's completely out of warranty, and it's being run no problem at all. He's had an ERAD or two, maybe.
yeah. But when they
She's
put
running
an ERAD in, there's no guarantee on that though, is there? Like, do they have a mileage guarantee on them, or
No.
so they could put one in and then it could go bang next week?
Yeah, but they've got to investigate why.
Yeah,
That's my experience. They've got to investigate why it's gone again.
yeah,
But what I know about it is, and I've said it on this channel before, that it's fast. The torque. So if some rental drivers will like their toes down a bit more than a musher would. Like, you care about your cab more than some of my rental drivers do. No disrespect to some of my
I
guys.
had
Some of
a
my guys are amazing.
hypothesis, then you probably could dispel this entirely as bullshit. The auto brake on the cab.
Yeah.
So when you put auto brake on, and then when you're at a set of traffic lights, take your foot off the brake, it holds it in place.
Yes.
Because I use that, and one of my pals uses it, and neither of us have had an ERAD, and my cab's done 70,000 miles.
Right.
Yeah, because my hypothesis there was that when you have the auto brake on it, obviously then it disengages the drive. So then it's obviously then giving it a break, and then when you then put it back into drive, you're then re-engaging it. So it's not always being sort of pre-talked up, if you see what I mean. I don't know. That's just
It's
I'm
not a bad
mechanical
shout.
person.
It's not a bad shout.
I'll be interested to know versus if there was a poll of people use that auto brake versus not. Because some people say don't use that auto brake at all.
Why?
I don't know. Again, it's just rumours. It's just the capture.
Because if your foot's on a brake all the time, like it is in the TX4, you're going to use all your brake pads up quicker.
Yeah, because the heat that's on them.
Yeah, and they're being used all the time.
Warp your discs,
and
whatever.
if you're not doing auto braking, you're probably not doing regen as well.
Yep.
So I don't know. I mean, I got in a cab a couple of weeks ago with my wife. It was her birthday. We come out of a show. We got in a cab, and the driver was driving it like an old TX4. He was on and off his brakes, on his pedals, on his accelerator. Like, it was horrendous. I had to actually get out.
Did you say, mate? Can you just that little switch in the middle?
We've changed our mind. We're going to get off here.
Can you just knock
that sort of conversation?
That lever in the middle. Can you just push it twice to the right?
Oh my god! It was just and it worries me how he's been trained to drive that vehicle. Right. Do you know what I mean? Because every driver that comes to my fleet gets shown all the controls of the vehicle. All my staff, myself or anyone else that's handing the vehicle over, will show them how to work that vehicle properly, because it's not like a normal car.
No.
It's completely different. It's got a regen braking system, which needs to be used correctly, and in the right weathers and stuff like that. But yeah.
So we was talking about fleets. So obviously that's one thing I still lose sleep over the fact that I'm going to be out of warranty in 2 years.
So,
but you don't think it's that big a problem then? Because surely the idea is I'm thinking I've always got to have some kind of warranty. I've always got to be paying something on it.
And there will be a warranty between 5 and 8 years. Yeah. They haven't decided about after 8 years, and I don't expect them to at this point, but it's definitely a warranty. And actually, I read through the whole warranty book yesterday, So I know how it works to a degree. I can't, warranty this warranty.
Yeah.
It's not my warranty, but I will be getting some of these warranties for sure, and I will be keeping some of these vehicles after 5 years. And actually, I think they're going to be all right after 8 years as well.
Wow.
Because the more time goes by, the more you learn, the more you realise that actually these parts that could be coming down in price because there's more of them being made.
Could be.
Makes more logical sense to me. Like the more vehicles that get sold,
Yeah.
the more popular it becomes, the more chances are to copy parts. Also, you get cabs that get written off where you can scavenge off them cabs. I know someone that got an ERAD off written off cab for a couple of grand.
Right.
Put it in himself.
Yeah, that makes sense because when one of the deciding factors for me to buy was the fact that there wasn't a used market yet for the electric taxis. It was all new stuff.
Oh, there's a great used market coming up. I mean, there is a used market now, but there'll be they're holding their money really well.
Yeah.
I also expect there to be a fully electric cab at some point.
Yeah.
There's got to be.
So I suppose it's the same sort of challenges that I suppose any fleet owner's had throughout the decades gone by. There's always been, well, maybe not, because there wasn't much iteration on the TX other than the Vito coming out. I'm sure there wasn't really much iteration on. Yeah,
I mean, parts and stuff were always, I would probably say, expensive when anything came out for the first time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, you're gonna see. Think the major things are the battery.
Yeah.
Major things on an ICE vehicle, engine.
Yeah.
Is there a big difference? I mean, now that the TX4 is really old, engines are cheap, right?
Yeah.
A couple of grand. Do we not think that by the time this vehicle's 8 years old, that you might be able to get a battery for 3 or 4 grand?
I guess so. I mean, I always
You'd
used to say
think
to people, well, like the same way you get people to replace the mobile phone batteries.
Yeah.
You don't have to go back to Apple anymore. You can get someone to do it third party.
Well, that's right.
You'd like to think there's going to be a lot more third party people when it's out of warranty anyway.
Yeah.
You can just pay, oh, mate, yeah.
I see these rumours saying that the batteries are 20 grand. Well, maybe they are if you've ridden over a bollard or something and damaged it.
The chassis
You can't really expect that to be covered under any warranty or anything else. And I think that might be an insurance claim of some kind anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't see anyone really needing to pay for a battery. That was the big panic when this cab first came out. It was like everyone was going, oh, how much is the battery? Why can't you tell us how much the battery is?
Everyone, even when you get punters in, they're like, oh, well, what about the battery? How long does the battery last?
Do all your punters speak like that?
Yeah. But there's even things like, I've heard of, one was telling me about, they can get individual cells replaced in the battery. So rather than, why would you replace the whole battery when you can
I've
just
had
isolate
conversations with people that are high up in electric car manufacturing, and they've said to me that things are being developed all the time.
Yeah.
And if there's a market for it, it will get cheaper.
Yeah.
So I don't see anything to worry about really. I'll definitely run these out of warranty.
Yeah.
We'll be running them out of warranty because it makes sense to do that, because there'll be.
Well, even though it might. Well, I suppose obviously you as a fleet owner, you're going to have like contacts and networks. We can get different bits and stuff from, and like you said, you can get stuff used. Much like when you go down the other garages and they've got loads of TX4s, they can just rob bits off other ones.
People love the cab. Drivers love the cab. And not every driver is going to want to pay the big money of a new vehicle, because every 3 to 6 months, this price of this vehicle goes up because it has to.
Right.
Inflation, costs of parts, it's got to go up in price.
Yeah.
However, the older ones, they stay at the similar level, so they're going to go down slightly. So we're going to want to have a market for a cheaper electric cab at some point. So that's my job to provide that, right?
Yep.
So yeah, of course, it's got to be done.
So you're going to be keeping obviously the cabs you've got now through into warranty. What else?
Hopefully.
What other direction are you going to go with your fleet as well? Because you've grown massively. Because you got your badge when?
2015.
And presumably you didn't have any cabs at that time, or you did?
No, as soon as I got my badge, I bought my own cab.
So you've started.
I sort of bought my own cab. I bought it. I bought a Vito, and this is the thing what inspired me actually. So I bought a Vito. It failed its presentation, NSL, for one silly reason. I can't remember. It was something to do with the paperwork.
What? This was your own Vito?
Yeah, I bought the Vito, and it failed because of the paperwork. I don't know what happened. I can't remember. It was something to do with the number plate. Anyway. I went there to get it on the day I passed, and he said it's not ready. I was like, no, I've just got my badge. I want to go to work. He's like, I'm really sorry. We're going to present it again on Monday. And that was the Thursday.
Yeah.
And this was December 2nd. And so it was coming up to Christmas, busiest month in the year.
Yep.
So I rang a few places. No one had a cab. Then someone recommended me another place. I rung him up and he goes, yeah, I've got one, TX4. Come down within 2 hours and we'll have it ready for you. So I got there and it weren't there. And then the guy came up the driveway. Dog jumps out of his cab and he grabs his dog and he tucks me the keys and he said, "I saw yours, mate." Got in it and it was like dog hairs everywhere. It stunk. It was horrible. And I said to the owner, I was like, "Oh, can you show me how to work the controls?" He went, "I ain't really got time, mate." He was underneath another motor. He said, "I ain't really got time, son." He was like, "Yeah." He said, "Crack on." I said, "Do you know where there's a car wash?" And I was expecting him to give me sort of some money to get it washed. He was like, "Yeah, there's one round the corner. Just tell him you know us." And that's what made me think he was going to put it on his account or something.
Yeah.
Nah. And I pulled out and the handle for the see, I'm not even exaggerating. This is what happened.
Yeah.
The handle come off the gear stick and the spring came out. So I had to turn around. He had to fix that for me, and off I went. And I thought to myself, there's a market here for someone to actually be looking after drivers, like having their best interests at heart, because I am one. I don't know whether that fleet was, I mean, I'm not going to mention them, of course, but I don't know whether they are cab drivers or not. I have no idea. I didn't really get into it with him. He was really friendly when I brought the cab back. He gave me a bit of money off the rent. He was cool at the end.
Yeah.
It was just at the start.
Yeah, and that's just that kind of first impression.
You know, and yeah, it's sort of, I thought to myself, yeah, I could do something here.
I think a lot of those things do go a long way, like, because it's so weird. You go
Trust.
Well, when you buy a private vehicle, it's like, it's everything is all about the showiness of it, and like, "Oh, come this way, sir," and that you do feel really valued. And not to say you don't feel valued down at Brewery Road, you certainly do, I guess, because you are going to go in there and work down a lot of money. But there's parts of like the cab trade, or luckily, I suppose a lot of it's probably going away now, when you do just feel like, really, like, is this the place? Is this
I know
where I've got to go? Like,
I know.
You know, you're walking in like puddles of oil everywhere, and any other sort of garage by modern standards can't.
And that's
really
where
like
I kind of learnt a lot about the trade, is when I started building my fleet, because I was never going to own a garage. I never wanted to own a garage, and I'm not mechanical. I'm not an expert on engines or anything. So I was letting other fleets look after my fleet. And that's when you get to know all the different garages and how they work. And there was a lot of places like that. There were some really good ones as well. So you learn a lot about everybody and how it all works as you go and build a fleet.
Yeah.
You know, and there's some great fleets out there. There's some really good fleets, and there's some really terrible ones as well. And that's sort of how I've picked up my fleet, whereas I've sort of gained drivers that have come from fleets that have not treated them very well. And some of the stories, oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I can't put my finger on the worst one at the moment, but it will come to me. But some of the stuff that drivers are expected to do themselves. I mean, I had a guy come to me the other week, and his aircon had gone on his Vito.
Yeah.
He came to get an electric cab, and his fleet wouldn't do it. They wouldn't repair it, and he had to keep paying to put gas in it.
Oh, right. So just falling out the other end, basically. It was just leaking out.
It was like, it was when they're in 40-degree heat.
Yeah. You need it, yeah.
And you cannot work a Vito without aircon.
No, because no windows in the back.
No windows in the back. Yeah. And he said, I had to keep going to Halfords and filling it up myself. And I said, "Oh, so was he going to give you the money off the rent?" He was like, "No."
What?
I was still paying my rent. Wow. I was like, wow. You know, and this is what I'm saying, like, we providing something that's really important. It's your main, it's your toolbox, it's your office.
Yep.
And it has to be right.
Yeah.
You know, and if it's not right, I want to know about it. I want my drivers to ring me and go, "Paul, this ain't right, mate."
Yeah. I'm
not standing for this, and I'll make sure it's right.
Yeah, especially for how much sort of it is. I mean, that was one of the things
the
that
cost.
Yeah, because when
it ain't cheap.
I would joke,
I get it.
I joke with my passengers, you know, like, yeah, this is more than my rent of my house.
Yeah.
Or my flat, rather.
Yes.
Like,
it is. It's
I would live
expensive.
in this cab if I could.
Yeah. Completely.
Yeah.
And I kind of can see this rent going up higher for new cabs. I can see it going over 400.
Right.
Sadly.
Just because of the inflation and the associated costs. Yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah.
It's scary. That's why we've got to provide a better level of rent, you know, for the older cabs.
Right.
So we have to maintain them, make them better. But yeah, I think it's going to go up higher than that. I'm dead against it.
Yeah.
Dead against it. But what can we do if these prices of these taxis, because of the way they're being built, is so high? A lot of it's to do with investment, I would have thought. You know, if the company that's providing them is not selling enough of them, then the ones that they are selling have got to be costing more.
Yep.
That makes more. That sort of sounds logical to me. You know, there's loads of reasons why. I you know, it's worrying. It is worrying.
But with all that in mind, though, you're still looking to get your fleet bigger, yeah.
Yeah, because there's a demand out there at the moment.
Yeah.
We're busy. We haven't got enough drivers, which is another problem, which involves this place.
Yep.
You know, not having enough people on the knowledge. You know, that's another thing I've been shouting about, annoying a lot of people about. But, you know, at the end of the day, we can't keep doing the same thing over and over again. If you keep making the same mistakes, the same things are going to happen over and over again.
Yeah, yeah.
And I see so much of it in this game. You know, the worrying thing for me is the knowledge, really.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you had a magic wand, if there was one thing that you could sort of specifically out of everything in the trade that would have the most amount of impact, like the one action to either get more drivers or make it more affordable, whatever, what is possibly the one thing?
That's a really good question.
I personally think it's either TFL or roads. Roads probably the biggest one, I think.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't inspire a lot of confidence in people coming out there seeing that all the roads are changing and you can't drive places.
I think roads have always changed, though. We've always had
but to the degree that they have recently, just how much has been taken away from us in the past year and a bit, 2 years.
Bishopsgate's the one for me.
Yeah.
That's preposterous. That's just a joke.
Yeah.
Even though it's not being enforced, i.e. nor is, like, Oxford Street's never been enforced.
Yeah.
It looks like that a little bit to me, but still having using COVID as an excuse to take away the biggest thoroughfare in the City of London, along with Bank Junction, is horrific.
Well, a corridor, as they call it, it's the edge.
Yeah.
You need it.
Yeah. And for what reason? I mean, it's all right for cyclists to do it, to get that. But what about disabled people?
Yeah.
Our vehicle's built for disabled people. That's what it's built for. You're never going to... So if you've got a disabled passenger, you can't. You're telling me you can't drop them or pick them up at Liverpool Street Station? That's mind blowing.
Yeah.
So that is one thing, of course. But if I had a magic wand, it's difficult. It's a very difficult one. I would probably want the things that I done my badge for to happen, i.e., applying for hire. I wouldn't allow an app to apply for hire in central London.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind it doing the outskirts, because we can't cover the outskirts.
Yeah, no, we can't go with that.
They shouldn't be allowed to apply for hire in central London.
Yeah.
But I'm also realistic, and I don't think we're ever going to stop it.
No.
I don't think
Cat's out of
any
bag.
amount of court cases and demos and things like that sadly are going to stop it. So I think we need to attack their numbers.
Yeah.
We need to get them people to aspire to be a taxi driver.
Yeah.
You know, so...
Which we are. I mean, that's always been the case.
That's always been the case.
And it still will be the case.
Yes.
They are probably our best target market, really, when you think about it.
Best target market.
Yeah.
I would say 95% of people who are in the school as we speak are private hire drivers.
Right.
Or delivery drivers. But there's not enough of them.
Yeah.
You know, how do we get them to want to go on the knowledge? Do we say to them it's going to take them 4 years? Or do we say to them, actually, it could take 2 years? We don't know.
Yeah.
It's all on you, mate. I think we need more support. We need more people who want to work and help them. But taxi drivers are not going to give up their time out on the road to help knowledge students unless they're being paid for it.
Yeah.
So there needs to be some kind of...
I think there also needs to be some
funding
kind of also
somehow.
Transparency as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's like the age-old thing of like cab drivers not wanting to share earnings because of, obviously years ago, it would have been a lot of cash.
A lot of cash, son.
And of course,
skyrocket, son.
Relating skyrocket.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. And that used to be one of the privileges.
Yeah.
You know.
Whereas obviously you and I both know, and many drivers listen to that know, that's pretty much
That's gone.
Yeah.
That's gone,
There's
mate.
still going to be an amount of it because
There's always going to be
it's going to be secret agents and criminals who need to get around. So it's a really big. I mean, I don't know why I done it really because I didn't have anyone directly in my family that was a cab driver. But I didn't.
Nor did I.
Right. How did you sort of get into it then? How did you know, or why did you want
Friends that done. See,
Right.
this is where.
See, I didn't have any friends either that done it. I haven't got friends.
I had a lot of mates who were cab drivers. So our football team, friends from going to Spurs and stuff like that. They're all cab drivers.
Yeah.
And it looked like the most flexible. And some of the stories you heard about them earning good money and going to the gym on the same day, or going and play golf on the same day, you think, oh, that looks all right.
Yeah.
And then it was really lucrative because there was no Uber.
Yeah.
So it was really lucrative and it was a good business to get into. So I started doing it. And the year I started doing it was the year Uber came out. But, you know, I don't regret it for a second, to be honest.
Not me.
And there is two different markets and it's getting better for us and it's getting worse for them.
Yeah.
And I hope that's an inspiration to them to come and be a cab driver. And from our point of view, we've done other stuff through being in the cab trade.
Yeah.
You know, you can't just think, oh, I'm just going to be a cab driver.
Yeah.
Could still do anything.
There's
It's a great
there's so
part-time job.
many opportunities for
Great
it. I mean,
part-time job.
this
It's a
is
great
what-
full-time job.
what I want to do to get back onto our topic of this episode, which was kind of like, what else can you do? Just other than just driving a
Our
cab.
journey, yeah.
There's like, obviously, many people know that I've done tours in the cab, tour guiding. That's something else. Again, it's a bit of a plug for the worshipful company of Hackney Carriage Drivers. But
Get it in.
how many years they've been doing it now? Decades, I think. They've been
Yeah.
doing the cab guide course.
I know.
It's
I've nearly
about-
done it.
It's like 8 weeks.
Yeah.
It's about, I think it's about £400. Might be, it's under 500 definitely.
Right.
But 8 weeks, you go and learn with other cabbies.
Yeah.
And that just blew my mind really into
Yeah.
like the history. But you learn a lot on the knowledge. But
You
after
do.
doing that, I was like, I can't unsee it now.
Yeah.
Just so much history about
And
it.
you're learning that off other cab drivers, right?
Yes. So qualified cab guides who've
That
done
run
it.
the course.
Yeah, they've done other guiding badges.
Brilliant.
And but that's just another way of just easily, because then all of a sudden I then realised, well, I can go out and not be on the meter.
Yes.
And I've sort of, because I'm doing the YouTube stuff, I've scaled back some of my tours, right?
Yeah.
But I remember I went out probably a couple of weeks ago. There's a guy I saw, he's been doing tours for ages. And he's also done the tour guiding course as well, so you get the nice badge from it. And
Yeah, I see the badge. I like
there's
the
a
badge.
ceremony and stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. And I remember it being a really rotten day. And I went out, I was driving down the street, I was going around all the usual places trying to pick up work, like down St James's, Pall Mall, up into like Mayfair.
Yeah.
I couldn't get a job for love nor money. And as I'm coming down St James's Street, I see him there with, I mentioned him as Ollie, but I see him there like with a group doing a tour, and I'm like, well, he's just done a good
Yeah.
100 quid
And
there
you've just
doing that.
scratched around and got
And I'm scratching around for it.
nothing.
He's had it
Yeah.
guaranteed. He's done it. So that was something for me that really opened my eyes. I'm like, whoa, hold on a minute. Because you can only work as hard as the meter in the cab.
Absolutely.
So guys do go out there and do it. I've done it. You've probably done it at some point as well, where you just think, I'm going to go out and have a really long day today. I want to earn loads of money, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
But can you really keep
You're
that up?
restricted. You're
Can you-
restricted.
Do you really want to do that 7 days a week and not see your family, your friends, and go on holiday or anything like that because you're too busy earning money, trying to earn money in the cab?
Yep.
So all these associated things to do with the cab, I always said it's just like another string in your bow, that it's something else to kind of take the pressure off.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you do a video,
Yeah.
a YouTube video, you get paid if it hits a certain level, right?
It fluctuates. There's
Yeah.
different videos that earn. So like any videos I've done to do with video gaming
Yeah.
pay you very much nothing.
Right.
Because you think about, obviously YouTube sells advertising space.
Yes.
Video games are mainly played by kids.
Yes.
So the advertising space on video games isn't very good because kids don't have much buying power.
Right.
If you started a finance channel on YouTube,
Yes.
you can make
Make some serious dough.
serious dough.
Yeah.
You can have a lot less views, but those views are worth a lot more.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, when it comes with me putting like stuff on YouTube, it massively fluctuates. So
Yeah.
even then, I'm still glad that I can go out in the cab.
But my question to you is,
Yep.
are you earning money while you're sleeping?
Yes.
That's the way to earn money.
Not much, but it's something.
But it's still money.
Yeah, exactly.
Still money.
Yeah.
So this is what inspired me a little bit in my business. Is I picked up someone in the cab who
Yep.
was a hotel owner, a big chain of hotels, and they're all over the country. And he said to me, the best way to earn money is when you're sleeping. If you're earning while you're sleeping, you haven't got to work for that money. You've done your work, and
Yep.
someone else is doing it for you.
Yeah.
And that's my inspiration. I always think to myself, right, can I earn money out of this while I sleep? If I can, that means it's worth doing.
Yep.
and that's it.
There's always going to be limitations. Even people who
in the cab, you can't sleep.
Well, no, you're
if you
working.
fall asleep, you'll crash.
Yeah.
And that has happened to one of mine.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But anyway, that's another bloody story. But yeah, if you're earning money while you're sleeping, that's the key.
Well, the way I look at it as well is that if you've got an hourly rate, which the meter is a form of hourly rate,
Yep.
you'll never be if whatever you define rich as or whatever. No, I'm not talking about. Obviously no means like anywhere near this or whatever. But even if you look at the highest qualified doctor, lawyer, whatever, if they're still going out and busting for an hourly rate, it could be a really high hourly rate. They could be like £200 an hour, whatever.
Yeah.
Their limitation is themselves.
Exactly.
They've only got so many hours in a day.
Yeah.
So they're not free if they want to. So I suppose the roundabout way that I'm talking about here is that it's doing these other things associated to the cab trade, whether it is doing tour guide and whether you've said you support anyone who wants to start a fleet.
Absolutely. No,
but I'm the same when it comes to things like YouTube.
Yeah.
Now, if people reach out to me, go, Tom, I'm thinking about doing this or whatever. Go ahead, do it. I'm here. Give me a shout. I can share everything that I've sort of half learned from doing this.
Yeah, because it provides variety. I mean, someone who's come to me and said, I want to do what you're doing. That's a massive that gives me so much of a buzz to say, oh, you've respected what I've done and you want to do it.
Yeah.
Amazing. Like, why not? But you got to know this, and this. And if you think that it's a quick earner, think again.
Yeah.
You've got to really put your time and effort into it and make it work.
Yeah.
If you have 100 grand in the bank and you go out and buy 4 cabs, that's the wrong way to do it.
Yeah.
Do you know, in my opinion, because that's the mistake I made. So I wouldn't want you to make that mistake.
Yep.
That's just an example that didn't really happen, but
yes,
you see what I'm saying?
People would see it as, I need
yeah.
X amount of money to do this.
Yeah, and I'm going to get my money back this quickly, and then I'm going to make this amount of money. It's just not as easy as that.
Yeah, I could say the same.
And then COVID can come along, and then that could completely mess you up.
We can come back to. I want to come back to that point, but something I want to add there is very similar to what you're saying. There is again the same with like YouTube and stuff like that. It's like it's really easy to look at what I'm doing now. But I was doing, I think it took me about a good year before I even got to 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
And you can only start earning money after 1,000.
That's right. That's what Dean said, yeah.
I was uploading one video a week.
Yeah.
That's quite a hard workload to do on top of, actually editing stuff that's actually of good quality.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people have this idea of like, I'm going to buy a decent camera and then I might do it. I'm going to buy this and buy a decent like audio setup and stuff. When it's like, no, you just need to just get started. But
yeah.
It's like the old saying as well that like some people say it takes 10 years to make an overnight success.
Yeah.
And you can chart that back for when I started making videos in college and university and stuff, and this is just an extension of it. So
yeah, of course.
I've done a lot of screwing around on video editing and stuff like that. But it's there. There's a huge market there. Content is the way, because content, as you said, it makes money sleeps because it replicates your work.
That's the thing what I found quite difficult about this.
You've got to be ready at any moment when that opportunity strikes.
Yeah.
You never know.
It's like writing songs, right? It's like if you think of something, you've got
been
to start
writing.
You're
a songwriter. Hidden talent there. Oh, you got me all excited.
No. Maybe one day.
But yeah, it is. It just strikes you like at any opportunity.
Yeah.
You don't just turn up to your computer or your laptop and go, right, I'm going to think about X, Y, Z. Sometimes you can do that.
Yeah.
But most of the time you'll be driving along, you think, fuck, and you got to pull over and you got to pull the notes out and jot it down.
Yeah.
And it's that. It comes at any time. You should always be ready to work on that.
You've got to think on your feet.
There's always a million iterations of it as well.
Yeah.
You can just think, right, if I'd done that but a little bit differently, then I do that. There's so many big ideas I still want to do on the channel and that I'm planning to do. But
you've got sponsors as well, haven't you?
I have indeed, yeah.
You're going to plug them?
Yeah, Y Food. I've got a couple in my bag, yeah.
Have you?
Yeah.
Can I have one?
Yeah, should we grab one?
Hear that?
You've been waiting to use those buttons all day.
Yeah. How good is that? Someone saw your stuff and they thought they would give you some sponsorship.
It's mad because when you look at, I had to do a bit of a U-turn on this, right? Because when I got in the cab, like I had an advert on a rental cab years ago,
right?
And in taxis, because I was doing tour guides and stuff.
Yes,
I didn't like the idea of having adverts on a cab. But you and I, we spoke about this the other day.
We did, didn't we?
The fact that obviously it brings a lot of money into the cab trade.
Heart, to be honest with you.
Right.
I've had to do it.
Yeah.
I'm doing
really?
It. Yeah. Because I like the uniform of the black cab. I like the cabs to be black and black only.
Yeah.
But we just lost so much money over COVID.
Really, yeah.
And it was an opportunity to get some of it back.
Yeah.
Because the problem was the finance companies were quite amenable. Mm-hmm. They were quite flexible. They still wanted to be paid.
Yeah.
But they were decent enough to give us payment breaks.
I say like a pause.
But they had to.
Yeah.
Right? There's no... I mean, they wouldn't have got paid, a lot of them.
Yeah.
Even if, you know.
It'd be lots.
So they did, right? However, we still had to keep them vehicles running a lot of the time, and we still had to keep them out there. There was no discount for insurance. There was no discount for all the other bits and pieces that went into the expenses of running the fleet. And that was burning big holes in everyone's balance sheets.
Yeah.
And this was one of the only ways to get that back. And we split it with the driver. Look, I still run black cabs. If you want a black cab, you have a black cab.
Yeah.
But I have to do advertising. It breaks my heart. I don't want to do it, but I've got to do it. And it helps us, isn't it? Because we work with brands, you know, and this is your brand.
Yeah, we're an overly branded world now, and I had to look at this.
I like it. It's really nice, actually.
But the way I saw it was that, obviously, it is something that I do need, because I wanted to have a brand that, when they initially reached out to me, I said no. People can't see this on the audio.
Tell us about that. How did they, like, what did they...
So the company I've got here is Y Food, right?
Right, yeah.
And they are a meal replacement shake. Yeah. So this is inadvertently a plug for them, but
yeah, of course. They've got really lucky here, because I'm plugging them as well.
Yeah, cheers, mate.
Yeah, that's right.
So, they reached out to me, and at first I thought, why do I want to drink that? Like, meals, whatever. Like, but then I realised that there's actually points in my day. I always get a good breakfast before I go out, and I generally might eat something decent in the evening. But when I come into town around 2:00,
okay,
and as soon as I get into town, I do not want to be stopping for a long period of time.
Yeah.
To go find lunch or go grab a meal deal.
See, I'm the other way around. I like stopping.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway, carry on.
So initially they reached out to me, and I was like, I don't want that. And then they sent me a few on sample. I'm like, actually, these taste pretty good. But also looking at the wider impact of them, because obviously as they're a sponsor, they put money into the channel, that then allows me certain things. Like, you know, because at first the channel was a lost leader, because anytime I'm out filming, I'm not out in the cab working.
Of course.
So for the first year or so, that was quite painful. Yeah. And even now, I'm still not at the point where it's you know, similar money to working in the cab. You know, the cab's still going to be the much more profitable exercise for me, at least.
Yeah.
But this is just be able to fund some bigger stuff. I've got a project where I'm going to be going to Europe in the cab. Yeah. We'll see what comes up there. Yeah.
Are we talking about the taxi tour next week?
No. It's something separate to that.
Right. Cool.
Yeah, so next taxi tour next week. Yeah, Disney.
Yeah. Yes, which we're both on.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that.
You can see us all leave Canary Wharf on the...
I can't wait for that. I've been wanting to do that since I got out. And it was difficult to get onto it before COVID. You had to be a member of this, that and the other, and I didn't get round to it. And this time you haven't. And I got straight on, which I'm really pleased about. Yeah. Can't wait to do it.
Oh, me too. Yeah. So good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that was the opportunity I saw, was that then, like, this is great, and they've been so supportive. When I had issues with my videos on YouTube, where I had to pull quite a lot of videos because I had a letter from TFL basically saying,
yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, but the sponsor was really supportive, because there was sponsorships attached to those videos. You have a certain contract, you have to keep them up for a certain period of time. Right. They've obviously put money behind it.
Of course they have invested,
but they were super cool, and I'm like, well, that is a company that
you want to be aligned with.
Because they really helped me out, you know, because otherwise...
they deserve a plug then. Why food?
There we go.
Yeah, great. And it is nice. I'm having a salted caramel, which is always what I turn to when I look at chocolate. I see a salted caramel, I always grab it.
There is something about salted caramel in there.
Yeah.
There was that phase when everything was salted caramel for a bit.
It's a bit like the fizzy water of...
It's in vogue. It comes through. Yeah.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's really nice.
Oh, cheers, man.
Yeah. Good for you, man. That's.
I'll let them know. Oh, and I forgot the best bit. People get a discount of Taxi 10. Taxi 10, they get 10% off their entire order.
And I've tried all the other bits and pieces with these meal replacements, and it is quite decent.
Yeah, that's got even split of carbs and protein. So
okay, yeah. Is it like a protein shake then?
It's got a lot of protein, but it's not exclusively a protein shake, because obviously a protein shake normally doesn't have enough carbohydrates, or fat content in it for actually to be a sustainable meal. Whereas that is a good 500 calories. So
lovely.
Where were we? So that just again, it's just another opportunity associated with the cab. Really, it's
putting yourself out.
Well,
there.
That's no different than me sticking an advert on my cab.
It's not
effectively, you know, because the advert in the cab. You see drivers do it, you know, with the free now ones, whether they keep it on or not, but they go down to the free now office, a few hundred quid, they do it. Because obviously free now associated with you know who. But
who?
Well, minicabs and that use it, don't they?
Oh yeah, of course, because it's a one hit place to get your transport now.
Yeah.
It's contentious, isn't it?
It is. And there's certain things they do often I do use because of things like going home jobs.
Yeah. I don't think I would influence any of my drivers not to accept work from an app.
You would say that again, sorry?
I wouldn't want to influence anybody to not accept work from
Right, okay.
an app.
Yeah.
For any reason anymore. I might upset a few people by saying that, but
There is a place. There is a place for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a secret, is it, that you can get a mini cab anywhere you want now with an app. You know, if you're not going to use it on Freenet, you're going to use it on Uber. If you're not going to use it on Uber, you're going to use it on Bolt.
Yeah.
You know, I believe that having it all in one place might have given us a bit more work, actually.
Yeah.
You know,
talking whilst this is I want to bring up a few other names. Whilst this is a topic about people doing other things associated with the taxi trade. In the taxi trade, you obviously got Taxi Now.
Yeah.
That's Tony Hoffman's app.
Tony,
And then you've got, I mean, there's a few other ones out there as well.
Taxi app.
Taxi app as well.
Mm-hmm.
So these are all, because there is a market there for it.
I've always supported Taxi app, and, you know, I'll say something very briefly on it, that I thought it was a brilliant idea because it was a cooperative. And everybody was getting involved to help.
Yep.
And then they voted for it to get some investment, but it remains a taxi app.
Yeah.
Run by taxi drivers.
Yeah.
And I've always said I'll support whichever way it goes.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not like trying to take something away from taxi drivers, or, you know, I don't think anyone really is. You know, there's a lot of political hate and
I think it's getting that balance
over
right,
that app.
Isn't it?
Yeah. And like I said, I said it to one of the guys that was against it going. I said, I'll just support it whichever way it goes. If they decide to go and take investment, take investment. If they decide to keep it as a cooperative, keep it as a cooperative. They decide to take investment, and them investors want it to remain as a taxi app and not take private hire on it.
Yeah.
You know, so
right, okay, yeah.
Is that so bad?
Yeah, I didn't know the full ins and outs of it. I've not really been following.
I don't think it's so bad, to be honest. You know, and I believe anybody that's going to get in the ride app industry is going to need investment.
Yeah,
it's going to have to take money
to get that marketing off the ground, and
it's going to have to take money from investors.
Yeah,
because with our level of business, i.e., amount of drivers we've got out there, amount of cabs, we can't cover all the work that's out there.
Yeah.
So it's going to have to be a mixture of private hire and licensed hire,
right,
to cover all the journeys.
Yeah, if it doesn't have investment, that's the way it has to go. Yeah, just because it's sort of subsidising a lot of journeys. But one of the advantages, if it does have investment,
it's a difficult subject, and it upsets a lot of people, and it divides so much in this trade. It gets so much division over this kind of stuff, and it's sad because we all want the same thing. Yeah, we all want an app that can be taxi only, right? Yeah, that can work, but it's just got to take.
Because you need one, because if you're up in rainy Hampstead in a cul-de-sac somewhere, you're not gonna. How often is a cab going to come past on Heath Street or wherever, and then
exactly,
are they going to be available for hire? Will they take you? And then you're still standing there in the rain. So
what did we do before apps came along? You'd phone up, dial a cab.
Yeah.
You'd phone up and go, I need a cab because I can't walk down the street.
Yep.
I don't want to walk down the street, so you would dial a cab.
Yep.
And they were invested in. I think they were owned by drivers, but then they took investment and stuff. I don't know everything about it. I don't profess to know everything about it, but I believe it's always going to have to take investment one way or another. And I don't think that means that we're stealing off the drivers by doing it. I just think that we're just trying to save it.
I think now's probably a good opportunity, actually, because the way the streets are going now, with a severe lack of taxi drivers and Uber drivers and all the others, this could be kind of a good shake-up for that kind of thing anyway. Because at the moment, none of them can really provide a reliable service.
No.
None of them can.
No.
The thing that's most reliable, we're seeing a light coming down the street, and that's your ride home. Yeah,
you know, when you see that light,
that's the most reliable indication that you're going home.
You see that light, you know you're not going to get ripped off. You know you're not going to get surge price. You know you're going to get home safely.
So keeping this kind of topic going of other people doing other fun things in a taxi trade. So obviously you mentioned Tony doing Taxi Now. I'll make sure I get these.
Tony,
right.
Tony.
What other fun individuals we got that kind of use it? Because I tell you why, right? I've ordered it. It's coming.
Go on.
Badge holder.
Oh yeah.
Did you see these fancy?
That is really interesting.
Tony from Cabbies. It's Cabby with a Z on the end of it.
Do you know?
And I plug it. I'm not sponsored by them to plug it or whatever.
No.
But like they look good, and from what everyone who's had them turn up looks really, really good. But they do.
I commented on that from our company, saying I'm really pleased to see this.
Yeah.
Because it's like a niche cab business.
Yep.
That's everyone's like, I've got my badge holder, and everyone's posting.
Yeah,
pictures
yeah.
of
I had
badge
someone say
holders.
like, "Oh, what did my
Wicked.
missus said? What do I want for my birthday?" And like, I want a badge holder.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
yeah. He's like, I'm so sad. This is the point in my life where I want a badge holder for my birthday. But they look wicked though.
They do.
It's cabbies, so with
Yeah, I know,
the
I see it,
S
yeah.
rather than a Z. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I want to give them a free plug because I'm like, that's great. Like they do them in black, pink, gold, and silver, I think.
Yeah.
But the idea is that it's an enclosed loop.
I didn't know.
It's enclosed. It's like sealed in.
I want one. I'm going to get my birthday's in November.
30 quid.
Yeah. No, that's good. Who else?
And obviously Dean can't be here, but obviously starting out Wizan.
Yeah.
Any schools and things like that. I know obviously because of the numbers that are going through the schools and that, but there's still a place for that.
Oh, absolutely. And we want that to.
Can anyone have
Get
honestly done the knowledge without a school's materials of some sort? You've got to get your books from somewhere.
Yeah.
You've got to get your maps from somewhere.
Yeah.
That's
Not really.
that's an important.
See, he's undersold how much that guy's done for this trade,
Right. Yeah.
because you think of how many people have got out through this method over the years.
Yeah.
If
anyone's listening who's sort of new to getting into cab driving or doesn't understand sort of what we're talking about, but obviously there's different schools, but
exactly the same thing. But for me, I like to do things gradually rather than try and get so much information in at one time.
Yeah.
And the other factor is I'm dyslexic.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. And
it's
so
supposed to be PH taxis.
yeah.
His name's Paul, MP.
But yeah, this and so trying to take in loads of info wasn't the right thing for me.
Right.
And I can read a page in the book and I'd have to read it all over again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And sort of it's a bit jumbled up and stuff like that. It's hard to talk about it actually because I'd never really talked about it. But yeah, so I don't think that method was right for me. And writing things down is never a good way for me to study. I have to and that's why I like the idea of the knowledge. That's why I like the idea of the knowledge because it's repetitive, so you have to keep going.
Yeah,
and I think it's good for people who are dyslexic because you've got to keep repeating yourself.
Well, it was an oral appearance. That was someone actually said to me that because they were basically saying, "Oh, do we need to?" I think it was at TFL or someone that argued that do we need to bring in an English standard requirement for cabbies on the knowledge?
Yeah.
Because you have to have the English exam for doing the private hire.
Yeah,
so well, no, because technically by virtue, you've done your English examination preparation by being able to turn up to an exam centre.
Yes.
And then asking you, please, sir, take me from here to here. And you have to do it back to them.
And the funny thing is, quite a lot of people have messaged me and texted me and stuff since I've been doing this. And one of the guys who used to rent a cab off me, he asked me if we could do a podcast about people who are dyslexic doing the knowledge.
Right, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So that's one of the things we're going to be doing.
Yeah, one of my call-over
I think
partner.
there's quite a lot of us.
Yeah.
To be honest. Yeah.
My call, he was a call-over partner, but yeah, I speak to him most days in the cab. He's dyslexic and
yeah. He used to be a drug dealer. But he got nicked for selling Fs. That's my best dyslexic joke ever.
But
wow. Yeah,
won't go there back.
No,
yeah. but I think that's testament to the whole schools debate or how you learn it debate because everyone has their own different ways of learning it.
Yeah, it was difficult. I mean,
I liked being quite routine with all the different cards and writing stuff down and stuff like that, but that's just kind of how I work anyway.
I never wrote anything down, and that was the good thing about Dean's stuff because he had an app where you could go through.
Still got an app?
Yeah. Well,
you said had
when I had it. Yeah. Because that was only just coming out.
Yeah.
So a guy called Alex, he developed it with Dean.
That was revolutionary. If I had actually started on it that way, that would have saved me so much headache because I manually did all my cards and stuff myself.
Right.
So
but a lot of people learn stuff by doing it manually.
Well, no, but you'd have to print a sheet and you have to write it down and you have to then put it on.
You keep seeing it though, don't you? That's the thing. It's
I
repetition.
guess so.
So, yeah, no, it was. But going back to people that have made money out of this game, there's so many ways.
Yeah.
So many ways. I mean, it ain't just about fleet. Obviously, there's other things that I mean, there was a guy over in Blackheath who was doing all the
taxi trim and that. Yeah.
He's gone.
Oh, is he gone now?
Yeah, he's just online. He's online, which is sad. That happened over COVID.
Yeah.
But I used to like that guy. I used to like going in his factory because you could see him all doing the upholstery in there.
Yep.
And his dad worked for Rolls Royce.
Right,
Or
okay.
I think something to do with Rolls Royce, and he used
Yep.
to get some of the leather out of there. And I used to find that really interesting.
Yeah.
That you could do that. And yeah, there's loads of opportunities in this trade, like there is in any trade, I suppose.
Yeah.
But it's diverse as well.
Yeah.
I like the story about the lady a couple of weeks ago that was on the BBC that was giving up her time to help people.
Yeah. See that.
What was her name?
Oh, I mean, she drove like a white cab, and she's doing it. It's
Yeah.
a picture of her, I think during lockdown, they were doing it in the garden.
Yes.
Map out in the garden and
I thought that
teaching
was
other
so
female
good.
cab drivers. Yeah.
I thought it was just so good.
Well, great thing, because someone in that local area is like, oh, they'll get around and learning about them. What is this about? You know,
Yeah.
So it's social as well as
Yeah.
like informative, educational.
Yeah.
Anyone
No, I
can
thought
get
that was
behind
great.
that. That's
I thought-
brilliant.
I was proud to watch that someone would want to do that
If
and
things
to
put
help
that
others.
on there, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of people that want to help each other in this game.
Yeah.
You know, like I've had situations out there, you know, where I've seen things happen, and you can know you'd flag another cab driver, and they would try and help you.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like the world you see on social media at all.
No.
I don't think.
Depends which. I've had a hypothesis about this the other day. Depends where you go, I think. So if you go on Twitter,
Yeah.
that's just like, no. But Instagram's all positive. So
It is,
just spend your time there.
Or LinkedIn.
Oh,
LinkedIn
right.
is like mega positive. Like everyone's
Yeah, it
loving
is.
each other, and then you get these random sales pitches, direct message sales pitches, and you think, oh, what are you trying to sell me here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it is mega positive.
Yeah. So you just cut any of those.
But
negative
Twitter,
stuff
I like
out.
Twitter. I find it interesting because people will say something and they don't care what they're saying, and you think, oh, that's the real.
I had the best
Whoever it
one
is.
the other day.
Yeah.
I went on there briefly. I don't really go on there much.
Yeah.
It's just more just refeeds.
Oh, I love it.
It refeeds everything
Yeah,
I put
yeah.
elsewhere.
Yeah.
I don't even have Facebook or Instagram
Yeah.
even now. And there was a load of cabbies moaning about the whole Park Lane cycle lane, which I obviously
Right.
agree with. It's a load of wasted space there.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
There's cabbies saying we're always stuck in traffic here. It's so bad.
Yeah.
There's no one in the cycle lanes.
Yeah.
And a cyclist replied and said, he said, well, yes, because the system is so efficient, the cyclist has already got to their destination. That's why there's no one in the cycle lane. I thought, well, touche.
What can you say?
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's hilarious. The cabbie versus cyclist on Twitter. It's
Yeah,
hilarious.
they love feeding it though. They love, and I'm
It's
just
so
like,
funny.
drop it.
The thing I don't like to see is when some Uber punter is complaining, and then all the cab drivers will
they
jump
get on top
and
of it.
be sarcastic to
You
them.
shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't. That is the worst.
That, I don't like that. I don't like seeing that.
Yeah.
I don't like seeing that.
One of the things I learned is a big sort of businessy thing I learned. It was when I worked back in Apple years ago, and one of their values was that when you worked at Apple, that you would never like unfavorably talk about a third party company.
Yeah.
Like imagine if you were like. So the idea being is that you wouldn't go into an Apple store and hear them go, "Oh, Samsung's crap. Don't buy Samsung.
Don't buy
They're
Samsung.
They would never. They'd be like, "Well, I hear they're a good brand or whatever."
Yeah.
And then how much more positive and how much more impressive is that
Yeah.
they speaking that way?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, actually, this guy. Like we used to have people that come in there that would have a Samsung. And they'd be like, "Oh, can you show me how to do this or whatever?"
Yeah.
Don't sell the phone, but they'd still help you
Yeah,
out
they'd
with it.
help you. Yeah.
And I think that's the much better stance to have. You haven't got to look at, Gordon Ramsay doesn't look at McDonald's and go, look at these cheapskates
an
making a
Uber
new
user's not
McDonald's.
going to just suddenly jump into a black cab when black cabbies are slagging them
Yeah.
off for using Uber. It just doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
To
And some of them are transit. Some of them do use Uber and then come over to
Yeah.
black cabs and back and forth. So
Yeah.
it is.
I mean, some people will say to me, I don't use Uber in central London, but if I'm going out to the airport, I'll use Uber because it's cheaper. It's a long distance journey. We've never been cheap for a long distance journey. We've never wanted to be.
Yeah.
We've always wanted to be a connection in town.
Yeah.
To get around quicker.
That last
We
mile.
all
yeah.
want an airport because we might get an airport back, but generally you're not going to get an airport back if you're going to Stansted.
Yep.
You're not going to get an airport back if you're going to Gatwick. You're only possibly going to get one at Heathrow.
Yeah.
Right? So, people are going to use a private hire vehicle for them journeys. They always will. There's no point us slagging people off for that. We don't like the reasons why they can, hail one in town, and I've already spoke about that.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. This is where we are now. World's changed.
Yep.
Game's changed. Game's not dead though.
There's always iterations of it.
Yeah.
Back in the 17th century, it was the Waterman and Lightman that would get a ferry You know, because you'd only have London Bridge was the only way of getting across
Of course.
from the north to south.
Yeah.
And then once the Hackney carriage...
So this is the stuff you learnt on that course, right?
Yeah, well, and as a spin-off, like, you're always looking at stuff like that. So what my point was that basically the only way of getting across London Bridge, because it was so busy and congested, if you can either walk across it, but some estimates would say in the 17th century that it would take up to 2 hours to get across there.
What, without normal traffic? It was just walking?
Yeah, because people lived on that bridge. Oh, that's legend has it. You know, obviously
you see things from the Great Fire of London where there was all houses along it and stuff like that.
Yeah, all like and then there's obviously market traders and stuff like that on there.
Right.
So one of the alternative ways of getting across was that you would go down to the local ferryman, and if you go down on the South Bank off of New Globe Walk, I think it is. It's Bear Gardens, I think it is. There's actually a stone seat still in the side of the Pizza Express there.
Right.
That was where the ferryman, basically the guy who was on point. So this is an original taxi rank, right?
Okay.
That's the reason why we have badges.
Right.
It dates back to the Waterman and Lighterman. They would have badges or insignia on their actual boats, and I think the actual person they used to have it on their bicep on shoulder there. Yeah, that's said to be where we have the kind of. So yeah, it comes back around, but yeah, that was the only way of then getting across London, and then of course they were really upset once you started getting Hackney carriages coming in.
Right,
they can't do that because for them they were going back and forth over the rivers all the day. They loved it. You got to think down by Westminster Bridge. There wasn't a bridge there to the 1700s.
Mad.
So they were constantly doing that. Greenwich would be their airport.
Okay.
That's like they were going Heathrow, touch, Greenwich, touch.
Yeah.
All it comes from is just having an interest in it. If you with anything, well, anyone who's listening to this doesn't have to be related to the cab trade. There's going to be loads of other cabbies out there got 1,000,001 interests in anything else. When you've got an interest of something, you've instantly got a massive advantage over anyone else who doesn't have an interest in it.
Completely agree.
And you can just go so deep and you can outpower anybody because you've got a natural enthusiasm. You'll be doing this when you're tired, when you want to go to bed, when you want to be sleeping, whatever.
I find that helps people on the knowledge out there as well if they really want to get there.
Yeah.
Like some of the guys that I've been helping out, you can tell the ones that are going to get through quicker because they're enthusiastic and they like to learn because they're interested in parts of London and things like that.
And that has a spin-off as well in the fact that, you know, when I did the knowledge and I got so enthusiastic about it, that you wouldn't just look at what you was doing, you would look at what you wasn't doing.
Yeah, yeah.
So you'd be like, oh, I don't need to watch TV now. Okay, how's my diet? If my diet's bad, then I probably can't think about it. If I'm not drinking enough water, that might affect my exam appearance. If I'm not sleeping enough, well, I better not knock alcohol in the head, or I better not have coffee before an appearance.
Yeah.
All these things then...
It all relates.
All trickles back in.
Listen, mate, it's been wicked.
I think we've rambled on a little bit.
I think we have, and I've really enjoyed it. And it's been, I was quite nervous to do it because obviously Dean's was the anchor man, and he's the one who started all the bits and pieces with all the questions. But I think it's gone really well.
He's good at sort of reining it in a bit if it goes a little bit off topic, I guess.
Yeah.
Do leave it down below in the comments if there's any other cabbies we've missed out, anyone who does other stuff associated with the trade that does need an honourable plug.
And also, if you've got any ideas for, I mean, we've said it before, I'll say it again, if you've got any ideas for subjects to talk about.
Or anything that we brought up in this that you want to bring, we need more of. If there's anything you want us to go a little bit deeper on that we didn't.
Yeah. Just message.
Yeah.
It'd be great.
Sweet. See you again soon.
Hang on.
Oh.
Do something else, yeah? There we go.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nice one. Thank you.